And welcome back to Hannity. So after 8 years of timid, weak, and feckless leadership, America is now back on offense. And as a result, we're seeing major adjustments from both our allies and our enemies. And that's tonight's opening monologue. President Trump is now orchestrating a very profound and dramatic shift in how America leads on the world stage. It continued earlier today when the commander-in-chief held a joint news conference with NATO's Secretary General, while the president talked about member countries contributing their fair share of money to joint security. And he pushed for a stronger focus on the issue of terrorism. Also today, after the Trump administration has repeatedly condemned Russia over the Syria chemical weapons attack, well, the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, he was in Russia meeting with his foreign diplomatic counterpart and with Vladimir Putin. And in response to the growing threat of North Korea developing a nuclear weapon, well, the president has ordered what he is calling an armada to the region in a major show of force. Here's the bottom line tonight. It's very simple for the world to understand. There is a new sheriff in town, and the world is beginning to take notice. Now, I'm calling it the Trump adjustment syndrome, because after 8 years of weakness and appeasement, well, the world's not used to seeing strength. And the U.S. now is leading from front and not from behind. And global leaders have grown accustomed to America not saying, for example, radical Islamic terrorism, and America cutting deals with rogue nations, the #1 state sponsor of terror like Iran, and the flat-out betrayal of one of our closest allies, Israel. Instead of taking a tough stance with Russia from the start, like what President Trump is now doing, the world was used to and saw Hillary Clinton offering to reset relations. You may remember this.
Sergei, in anticipation of this important meeting and our time here together, I wanted to present you with a little gift which represents what President Obama and Vice President Biden and I have been saying. And that is, we want to reset our relationship. And
let's do it together.
So we will do it together, okay?
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We worked hard to get the right Russian word. Do you think we got it?
You get it wrong.
I got it wrong.
It should be перезагрузка. And this says перегрузка, which means overcharge.
Well, we won't let you do that to us, I promise.
All right, we all know how that turned into a complete and utter failure and disaster. Then instead of pushing the Russians to change their behavior, well, the world watched as President Obama offered them more flexibility. Remember, tell Vladimir this. Take a look.
This is my last election for you. Yeah, and after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. And I transmit this information to Vladimir.
Barack Obama, he gave Russia space to operate, and guess what Vladimir Putin did? He took full advantage and ended up walking all over him. But now that President Trump has restored American leadership on the world stage, well, countries are having a hard time adjusting, and he's making guys like Putin, Kim Jong-un, Bashar al-Assad, radical mullahs in Iran a little bit uneasy. Now it's time for them to realize that the old ways of doing things is over. Now, soon enough, they'll understand. Very clearly, America's back, and this landscape is now changed. And President Trump, he's also showing that in some cases, America has a moral obligation and duty to act in the world. That's why he responded to Syria's use of chemical weapons with a targeted and proportional military strike. Now, I know his actions in Syria is causing some saber rattling, and there's criticism of what America's role in the world should be. But to those of you who disagree, let me ask you this question. Should America, the United States of America, sit on the sidelines while innocent men, women, and children are gassed to death with chemical weapons? Should we really let what happened there, keep going on? Or should we try and use America's might to stop evil in our time? Now, President Trump made the right decision. He drew a line in the sand with Syria and letting Assad know that the use of chemical weapons will not be tolerated. So to detractors out there, the commander-in-chief, he's made it clear. There will not be American boots on the ground. That was a campaign promise in Syria or anywhere else for the time being. Now take a look at what he told our friend Maria Bartiromo.
Just so you understand, we're not going into Syria. But when I see people using horrible, horrible chemical weapons, which they agreed not to use under the Obama administration, but they violated it.
They said they got rid of them.
Hey, look, what I did should have been done by the Obama administration a long time before I did it. And you would have had a much better, I think Syria would be a lot better off right now than it has been.
Now, Maria will join us later in the show. Look, I understand. America cannot be the world's policeman. We can't rush into every single crisis all around the world. This is a 7-year civil war. We're not going to solve all those problems. But if America doesn't lead and take a moral stand, who will?